Welcome to the Focus on Why podcast. I'm Amy Rowlandson and I ask my guests one simple question. Why? Focusing on the importance of why, I share with you the relatable, uplifting and inspiring conversations I have with people from all walks of life. This podcast will encourage you to focus on your why to enable and empower you to achieve the success you desire. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why. Before we get started, are you thinking of creating a podcast or are you a podcast host already? As a podcast strategist, I can help you to launch or relaunch a purposeful and profitable podcast, which will inspire, entertain, and educate a global audience. Simply book in a one-to-one call with me right now via the Calendly link in the show notes, and together we'll focus on the purpose of your podcast. Today on Focus on Why, I am joined by Damola Osibona. Damola, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Amy. I'm excited about this.
Well, it's been a long time coming.
100%. I think we originally spoke maybe 2020. So long time coming.
It was definitely. And you were on episode 100. You came on and you shared some of your insights about what listening to Focus on Why had led you to go on to do and what you thought of it. So thank you for that. But this is different. This is your story today.
It is indeed. Nervous, but if I could help anyone or if I could inspire anyone, that would be really exciting for me.
So share with us, what is it you're doing at the moment, Damola?
So I have an outbound agency where I work with marketing agencies and we build them client acquisition machines, which helps them connect and get sales opportunities with their dream clients.
Now, you're talking alien language to me, client acquisition machines and an outbound agency. Tell me a bit more about what that actually does and who for whom.
So it's specifically for marketing agencies. So marketing agencies who want to grow and looking to scale their business, we partner up with them and we help them get more opportunities to, sell their services to more of their dream clients.
Okay, that makes sense. I can understand that. Brilliant. And how did you get into this area of business?
It's been a journey, actually. So I've always liked I've always had a massive interest in like marketing and sales. So I've read a ton of books on marketing and sales. And so when I started this, it was just writing down what I was actually good at. And it was sort of marketing and sales. Those are my two passions. And marketing agencies, I had a friend who had a marketing agencies, and that's where the connection started. So I helped him out initially and realized, this is something that I enjoyed. And that's how I sort of led into this sort of agency that I'm building out now.
And tell me, you read a ton of books. What do you do whilst reading and also after you've read those books?
So it's a good question, actually. For me, I like to read one book probably more than 2 or 3 times, just so that I can understand what the book's actually trying to explain. So especially with marketing and sales, because there's different schools for both. So for marketing and sales, so I try and align myself with the school that I like, that I believe works and that I sort of align with, and then just read more of those sort of books and from the same author, so that I can really understand what that author is trying to say and what that author is trying to teach. So, and then just applying those lessons and then just being like a mad scientist and testing, seeing what works and what doesn't work, and then trying to apply my own sort of lessons and experience and mixing those in and just coming up with, it's almost like a cocktail. So I take different things from different authors, apply my own sort of experience, and then.
And what's the cocktail that you're making right now?
So that's a good question. It's, for the business I'm trying to build out, I want this to be, the vision that I have for it is where we work with the top advertising agencies in the world, and they partner up with us and we help them sort of fill their calendar up with dream prospects who they want to work with, who they want to, help. So that's the vision that I have for the business now, and that's the cocktail that I'm trying to make for the business.
And where does this drive and energy and fascination come from, Damola?
I've always been quite ambitious. but I've never. I've always been quite ambitious, but I never knew how to divert that ambition into one thing. I've always been very scattergun. So I think a conscious decision, and it was definitely after sort of lockdown, the very first lockdown, was I wanted to focus my energy and my efforts into just one thing. And that one thing was marketing and sales. And I didn't really know what the vehicle was, but it's just almost like this is a belief that I have, that if you just do what you know, doors will eventually open. And that's just what I try to do. So it started off by helping out a friend, realizing that I liked it. And then certain other doors started to open, and it's like, oh, I could actually start a business from this and have a career and take it as far as I possibly can.
So at what point did you recognize that you were going to be an entrepreneur?
I remember going on holiday. So I went on holiday to Mexico. So I was working at the time. And I remember coming back and realizing that I want more of this, because it was one of those dream holidays where it's all inclusive, you have so much fun. And I just remember coming back and thinking, I want more of this. And I purchased a book called Money. I've never read a book in my whole entire life. And it's a funny story as well, because my partner at the time, because it was a long flight, she mentioned that, why don't you just get a book for the flight? And I was like, oh, I don't read books. But she's like, no, you could get like any sort of book. It could be. So at the time I loved football. So I got a football book and I enjoyed reading it. So I took the book everywhere with me on holiday. So after coming back, I thought, do you know what? I actually like reading. Let me get another book. But this time, let it be on a subject which and a subject that I want to improve in, which is money, like how I could, make my money work better for me. So naively, I went into Amazon, typed in money. There's a book called Money, purchased it. And that sort of changed my worldview in terms of how I view things. So I'd say that was the very first time that I felt there was more to life than just having to work. You could actually push yourself to becoming the person that you want to be. And that sort of led into entrepreneurship.
So what's the time frame that we've got here from that holiday in Mexico?
I think it was 2018. So we went in 2018, and then entrepreneurship journey started in 2019.
So it's been quite fast paced.
Yeah, yeah, it does. To be fair, when I do reflect, it doesn't seem like it, but it has been.
Yeah. So coming down from the high, from the holiday, the amazing holiday, all inclusive in Mexico. I'd like to be there right now. I can picture it. It's amazing. And then realizing that there was a whole new world out there, essentially, because you'd experienced it. But then when you had your mind changed reading Money, and your whole perspective shifted, and you said your worldview changed, what was the first step you took after that?
The first step was, it was more of a mindset shift more than anything. It was that the belief that you could achieve anything you want to in life if you set your mind to it and work towards it. It was that mindset shift. I just remember it was that was the main thing for me. Whereas before, I had sort of the worldview that, and it's crazy now that I think of it, that life was predetermined. So, you go to school, you get a job, and you can influence certain aspects, but your life is pretty much predetermined. Whereas I remember after reading that book, it was like, no, if I want to climb Mount Everest, I believe I actually can do it. So, and it was just that sort of mindset going into anything in life, really believing that there's nothing that I can't achieve if I set my mind into achieving it. So that was the first shift, and that led me into sort of my first entrepreneurship sort of.
Yeah. And you said you've read tons of books. What other books have had an impact, such as Money? I think it's Money by Rob Moore you're referring to,
That's
isn't it?
right. Yeah.
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 That's a big book as well.
It's a massive book. Yeah.
Yeah.
What other books was that the question?
Yeah.
Psycho-cybernetics is another big one for me. Goals, that's another big one. I'm sort of looking at my library now. Limitless. So those are like mindset books. And then in terms of like practical sort of marketing and sales books, I quite like reading. I, they're all, yeah, I'm sorry to say, but they're all passed away now. I like reading people who have, because I feel things don't change over time, like especially people, and marketing and sales is very people related psychology. So if it's worked in the 40s and 50s, then it could definitely work now. It's just maybe the medium has changed. But yeah, so I like reading sort of, I guess I call them the OGs in marketing.
Amazing. And what is your metaphorical Mount Everest that you want to climb?
This is a good question, because for me, I haven't capped it. So it's just how far I could actually take this, and just continuing to push. I think every time I feel I can't do something, or you know I just want to get to that level, I always try and, okay, how far could I take this? How much more could I actually achieve? What other skills could I acquire? How much could I develop? How many more people could I impact? So it's just I don't try and put a cap onto it. It's just I just want to just keep going and just seeing, you know, how much potential that I can actually squeeze out of myself whilst I'm here.
And you said that you've always been driven and always been ambitious, but have you always had this self-belief that you're capable? I mean, obviously you've had the shift in mindset,
Yeah.
but people will be listening to this and you have this assumption that people only succeed, or they succeed because it is their way.
Yeah.
But have you always been as confident as this?
No, not at all. And it's still, it's something that I work on every day. So I like first hour of the morning it's like my time just to work on myself. Whereas I build up that sort of self-belief in myself. I do a lot of self-talk, because you know, especially in anything in life, you're always going to have doubts and worries that creep in. So that's why I like to I like my first hour after waking up, I do just work on that sort of self-belief. So it hasn't always been there. It's definitely something that I'm trying to work on and improve. But yeah, it hasn't always been there. I think a lot of books have helped. So that mindset shift from that very first time reading that book, that was the start of it. And then it's just been that sort of never ending journey of trying to improve it.
And tell me where purpose fits into your story.
Yeah. So purpose is very big for me, because I feel without it, I feel I will always have the drive, but it'll be, I guess, tainted. It wouldn't be as strong. And like, because a lot of what we do, it requires a lot of self-discipline. So without that purpose, then I feel like the discipline wouldn't be as strong.
And what is the purpose, Damola? What is it you want to?
So for me, it's linked to loved ones who have sacrificed and just done a lot for me, especially as I went on this entrepreneurial sort of roller coaster. So that purpose is aligned with them, and just being able to just one day just be able to give back, and just my way of saying thank you. So that's my purpose. That's what makes me up. That's what gets me up in the morning. It pushes me each day.
And in business, your business that you've got now, where you're helping marketing agencies to grow and scale, purpose must feature in that too.
For sure. So business-wise, it's clients. So I'm very sort of clients driven. So I always say, like, it's results for the clients and service before anything. Like, I've never wanted to be in a business where I just take people's money and don't deliver. So a lot of my focus and a lot of my attention goes towards sort of clients and making sure that I could deliver. Just because I've always believed that we're here to serve. So both my personal purpose and also my business purpose is very much aligned with other people. So just making sure that we're able to deliver and give back.
And tell me about those moments where you felt fearful or doubted your own ability to keep going.
Every day. So because at the moment I work with, marketing agencies who are doing, 7 figures in annual revenue, and sometimes I feel like they want to partner up with me, and sometimes it does get a bit overwhelming, and they look to me for advice. So sometimes their doubts do creep in, thinking, are you qualified enough to do this? Are you, at the level to do this? But it's something you do have to like isolate that and just see it for what it is, which is just fear. And it's just the fear of, because of the fact that I'm so sort of, I want to overachieve for my clients, fear does creep in. And that's what it is. It's just, that's where that doubt and worry comes in, when I isolate it and just see it for what it is. So yeah, it does come, especially the level of clients that I work with. So, but yeah, you just have to see it for what it is and just continue to act despite of the fear and the worry and the doubt. Yeah, you just realize that it's never going to go, and just being comfortable with that and just being able to act whilst it's there.
And if there was someone in the audience who you'd like to specifically give a message, maybe a younger version of the Damola that's sitting here today, what would you be saying to them?
It's a good question. I'm gonna act as if I'm talking to my younger self. So what I would say is just believe, and then just continue to just take that next step, regardless of what it is. Don't worry about the outcome. Just focus on that next step, and then focus on that. That's all you need to do. Just focus on the next step. Don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry how you're going to get there. How's none of your business. Just focus on like that next step and why you're doing it, and just continue just to walk with faith rather than with like sight.
And how old was that younger version of you, Damola?
So I'll say I just finishing school, so 16.
And did you know what you wanted to do at that age?
Oh no, definitely not. I think I was lost for a long time. I knew so I've always been ambitious, and I've always known that I wanted to achieve things, but I just never knew how. Never knew how. So I did take the traditional route in terms of going to school and then getting a job. And I just remember feeling lost just because I just didn't know. I felt there was more, I could do more and achieve more, but I just didn't know how. So there was always that disconnect. So that's when I guess the lights sort of shined when after reading The Money Book by Rob Moore.
Yeah, I love that. And that not giving up and just focusing on the next step, and the focus on why, as you said as well, and walking with faith and knowing that it's only the next step. What's your next step now?
Good question. So the next step for me is, and I know this is sort of an outcome goal as well, but I want to sort of take the business to like a 7-figure level. So we're at 6 now. So I think the next step is for it to go to 7. So that's going to require a sort of a new beliefs, new character traits, new skills. So that's what sort of gets me up in the morning in terms of just being able to overcome that next challenge.
And who is it that you're becoming?
So yeah, I journal this every day. So so for me, it's just being able to master my emotions. I feel that's the big one for me, and being able to regulate myself and act despite of all emotion. Just being committed to the goal that I have, and not allow my emotions to impact to and influence my sort of daily decisions and habits.
Yeah. And journaling every day. Is journaling being something you've done for a while, or did you adopt it recently?
I'll probably say for the last year now, inconsistently, but I'll say this year especially, I've been super consistent with it, and it's just been really helpful, because you're allowed to get sort of all your fears, worries onto paper, and then you can see it for what it really is. Paper doesn't judge, whereas your brain does. So it's super helpful.
So that self-talk that you spoke of earlier, and the brain again judging what you're doing, is it just one voice, or do you have two voices?
Oh, it's 2, definitely. So it's the devil and the angel on each shoulder, 100%. So it's just making sure that the angel is louder than the devil and trying to shut the devil up.
Does the devil ever have anything interesting to say that you take note of?
Yeah, so it's always about fear. It's just, is it worth it? And because, well, for me anyway, it's quite logical, the devil voice, because it is hard. It's being able to discipline yourself and act despite of fear and worry, and any logical person will give up because it is hard. So it's being able to sort of just drown that out and just tell yourself that you're not logical, you're not sort of an irrational person. The reason why you're doing this because you are different. So, and just accepting that, and just so I always tell myself that I do have a screw loose somewhere, and that's why I put myself through this pain and discomfort every single day. So yeah.
Would you change anything?
No, not at all. No, not at all. Not even mistakes I won't change, just because it's all part of the journey, and it allows you to learn and grow. Discomfort for me equals growth. So that's another thing that I tell myself, okay, this is uncomfortable, but you're going to grow from this. So let's do it.
So 6 figures in just over a year, is it?
So I left work in April 2021. So so just under a year.
Yeah.
Just under a year.
That's really impressive, Damola. You must be really proud. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with what I've achieved so far. I think this is something that I need to get better at, in terms of taking stock and just being giving myself a pat on the back at times, just thinking, you have achieved a lot in such a short space of time, and just being grounded in the moment as well, because it's so easy just to chase that next thing, that next step and that next target, but sometimes just grounding yourself and just being really grateful and just being appreciative of how far you've come.
And how do you celebrate your wins?
I don't, so that's what I need to get better at. That's definitely something that I want to improve. And I have people in my ear telling me, you need to, reward yourself at times and celebrate your wins. So it's something that I definitely want to do. I do definitely need to do it more, 100%.
So when I first asked you, when I launched the show, would you come on the show? And you was like, yeah, when I have achieved a certain amount. You had it as a goal that you wanted to share your voice at that point. And today you've shared, what it is you're doing and why you're doing it. What else is there about being able to share your message that is important to you?
For me, I never thought I'd be able to achieve what I've done. Maybe if you asked me 2-3 years ago, it would have been impossible. I was so lost in terms of what I wanted to actually achieve or what I actually wanted to do with my life. So if anyone is at that point and where they just haven't got a clue what they want to do, and they feel like there's something inside them that's telling them, there's more to life, or I could achieve more, just take the leap. There will be, because even for me, that leap that I took, I never thought that leap will come. So there will be a point, especially if you have that nagging thought and your attention is placed on it, I'm a firm believer that an opportunity will come. So just take that leap when that opportunity comes, even if that opportunity if you don't feel there's sort of a long-term, there's a long-term route or direction with that sort of opportunity, still take it, just because it will open doors, and then it will allow you to sort of get to where you want to achieve and find your passion and find what you actually enjoy. And so take the leap when the opportunity does come, regardless of what opportunity it is.
And you mentioned passion there. Is what you're doing your passion, or is it a route for you to be able to enjoy your passions?
It's a bit of both. So I enjoy what I do on a daily basis, but at the same time, I know it is sort of a vehicle for me to get to the next stage where I can really truly enjoy like my total passion, where I feel, do you know what, this is exactly what I want to do. But what I have in terms of like the plan that I have for myself, I've always known this is going to be the vehicle to help me get there.
Fantastic. And I mean, it's been a privilege to watch from the wings, Damola, you know, seeing you say, I'm going to do this, and then just get on and head down and get on and do it. It was just been brilliant to see you do it. And it was a case of, yeah, I'll come back to you, Amy, when, you know, I'm ready and I've achieved this, because I want to prove to people and to myself that I can do it. So yeah, I will celebrate for you. I'm happy to raise a glass or two of fizz to celebrate that, because it's been incredible.
Thank you. No, you're right. I think, yeah, that's another message as well. Just keeping the commitment to yourself. You say you're going to do something, you just got to do it. Just have to do it, like regardless of how hard it is. Just get it done.
Fantastic. So how can people get in touch with you, Damola? What's the best way for them to reach out?
Best way to reach out. I'm not the best when it comes to social media, but I do have them now. So Instagram, which is just my full name, so Damola Osibona. Facebook as well, same thing, just my full name. And for business, my website is www.quantumscalar, all one word, .com.
Brilliant. Well, absolutely. I'll make sure they all go in the show notes there for you. Do you have some final words, Damola? I mean, before I ask for final words, I just want to say thank you again for coming on, because it has been a joy hearing your story and hearing you vocalize, you know, what you have done, and with such dignity and respect. It's been fantastic. How would you like to close out the episode?
Firstly, thanking you, Amy, for the opportunity and for the platform. I know it's been a long time coming, so thank you for just remembering me and just giving me nudges. Is it time? Is it ready? Are you ready? So I want to thank you. I've never done this before, so yeah, I want to definitely thank you. And yeah, I think it's just to sort of just echo the message, just in terms of if you do get an opportunity, take the leap and stick to your commitments that you've made to yourselves. And just, yeah, life is for living, so just go for it.
How has this conversation had an impact on you? What value have you received from tuning in? What are your reflections with actions? Please take a moment to leave me an Apple Podcast or Spotify review sharing how Focus on Why has made a difference to you today. Remember, the conversation doesn't end here. To keep it going, simply connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook or Twitter, or join the Focus on Why Facebook group. All the links are in the show notes. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why.